Okay, Chair Rob, we are now live on YouTube.
Okay, thank you very much. Good morning. It's 9 a.m. Thursday, May 25th, and this is the Public Employees Benefit Program Board meeting. We will go to agenda item number 1 and roll call. Will you please call the roll?
Chair Rob.
Here.
Betsy Aiello.
Here.
Jim Barnes.
Here.
April Caron.
Here.
Leslie Biddleston is excused today. Jennifer McClendon.
Here.
Tom Verducci.
Here.
Michelle Kelly.
Here.
And Janelle Woodward is also excused today. We have a quorum.
Okay, thank you very much. We will move on to agenda item number 2, public comment. Public comment will be taken during this agenda item. No action may be taken on this matter raised under an item unless included on a future agenda. Do we have any public comment this morning?
Yes, we do, Chair Rob. I'm getting the slide brought up right now. Looks like we have about 3 right now currently.
Okay, thank you.
As a reminder, Zoom is used for public comment only. This meeting is streaming live on the PEB YouTube channel if you want to watch the board meeting there. The YouTube link is located on the agenda. For those who have joined for public comment, your name or last 4 digits of your phone number will be announced and you will be advised you have been unmuted. As a reminder for those on the phone, please press *6 to unmute. Please slowly state and spell your name for the record and then proceed with your comments. Due to time considerations, each caller will be limited to 3 minutes. With a caller with the last 4 digits 0891, please slowly state and spell your name for the record and press *6 to unmute if you wish to make public comment. Caller with last 4 0891, you have permission to speak. Plus *6 if you wish to make public comment.
Good morning, Chair Rob and fellow committee members. My name for the record is Terry Laird, spelled T-E-R-R-I-L-A-I-R-D. I'm the Executive Director at RPEN, the Retired Public Employees of Nevada, where we represent nearly 8,000 dues-paying members in 17 chapters statewide. RPEN, created in 1976, is a nonprofit, nonpartisan organization. I'm testifying today in dismay that you're having to deal with replacing your executive officer while we're facing the close of the 82nd legislative session and also dealing with open enrollment at the same time. While we do wish Ms. Rich good luck in her new venture, we're hopeful this board will be able to replace her and move quickly as possible to do so. We were happy to hear that Ms. Glover was willing to step in, whether for a short while or longer, because her past experience is very much needed at this point. We wish the board much luck in the process and we'll look forward to working with the next executive officer. On a personal level, our PEN members had come to enjoy the opportunity to reach out to the last 2 executive officers when a member of ours came to us with concerns and have an answer for our member within a day or 2. In our nearly 45 years of advocating for PEB and PERS, we had come to greatly appreciate this. And so when we were told we'd need to assist our members ourselves, using the PEB website for answers that we'd heard continuously from PEB are often complex and confusing, we were obviously disappointed. We understand the reason, a shortage of staffers, we understood, but again, we're hopeful with changes coming, hopefully from the legislature, to address staffing shortages, poor wages, and better benefits. This problem will be taken care of, and we can get back to better customer service for the members that PEB and RPEN serve. In closing, I also want to share a phone call we received this week from a Washoe County School District employee who had been retired 35 years and been a member of RPEN for 20 years. She said she had a concern that she had been trying to resolve with VIA benefits at least 5 days in a row. And after waiting on the phone each time for about an hour, she was continuously disconnected from the call. She was beyond frustrated and called our office hoping we might be able to offer some assistance. I then tried to reach a couple of my former contacts, but had no luck. Unfortunately, we don't believe this is a new issue with VIA benefits. It is a difficult time now for PEB, though, losing 2 executives on your team at the same time. We do wish you luck and thank you, this board, and the staff's effort to make things better and easier for your participants, our members. Thank you.
Thank you. Next caller, please.
Caller with the last 4 digits, 3246. Please press *6 to unmute, and please slowly state and spell your name for the record if you wish to make public comment. Caller with last 4, 3246. Please press *6 if you wish to make public comment. Caller with the last 4 digits, 9199. Please press *6 to unmute, and please slowly state and spell your name for the record if you wish to make public comment.
Good morning, board and members of the committee. For the record, my name is Tess Opferman. I represent the AFSCME retirees. We represent roughly 1,300 retirees here in Nevada. And I just wanted to echo some of what Terry just said in terms of being sympathetic to this board and needing to find a new executive director. We really appreciated being able to work with previous executive directors, and we'll look forward to working with the next one as well. We do want to offer any support we can give in helping you to find an executive director. We do know pay continues to be a struggle of all state agencies. I know the legislature has worked very hard this past legislative session to make some changes, and I hope those are effective across state agencies and also can help bring in a new executive director. I also just want to give a brief update in terms of some of the legislative decisions. They did close the PEB budget and decided to reinstate life insurance, which we are thrilled by. So we'll look forward to working with this board in reinstating that life insurance. That said, we, AFSCME retirees, had requested that the HRA account be raised to $15 from $13 to $15 per month per year worked. That did not take place. They chose not to raise that amount. So we will look forward to working with all of you through the interim and continuing to have those conversations in an attempt to get that raised to the $15. So with that, I look forward to listening to today's meeting. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next caller, please.
Chris Silverson, please. You have permission to speak. Please slowly state and spell your name for the record if you wish to make public comment.
Hi, this is Chris. I do not wish to make public comment at this time.
Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
you. Do we have any further public comment?
We have one more, Chair Rob.
Okay.
Rosa Marino, you have permission to speak. Please slowly spell and state your name for the record if you wish to make public comment. For those who might have had technical issues, there will be another public comment section at the end of the board meeting. Chair Rob, that concludes public comment.
Okay, thank you very much. We will close agenda item number 2, move on to agenda item number 3, PEB board disclosure for applicable board members meeting agenda items. Will the Attorney General's office please go through that disclosure?
Yes, Chair. Thank you very much. For the record, my name is Mike Demmer from the Attorney General's office, standing in for Radhika Kunnel, who had a conflict today. Agenda item 3, it allows me to make a disclosure regarding conflicts of interest on behalf of the board members who are eligible for PEB benefits. Per NRS 281A.420, on behalf of the board members who are eligible for PEB benefits or whose family members are eligible for PEB benefits, I offer this disclosure that they will be voting on those items that may affect the benefits available to them or their family members. The law does not require abstention from voting merely because the board member or their family member is eligible for PEB benefits. At this time, I would invite any member of the board who has any additional disclosure to do so now. And I thank the chair and the board for its diligence, or for allowing me to speak.
Okay. Thank you very much. We will close agenda item number 3 and move it on to agenda item number 4, consent agenda. Consent items will be considered together and acted on in one motion unless items is removed, be considered separately by the board. 4.1, approval of action minutes from March 3rd, March 23rd, April 1st, April 21st of 23 PEP board meetings. Item number 4.2, receipts of quarterly staff reports for the period ending December 31st of 22, to include budget reports and utilization reports. 4.3, receipts of quarterly vendor reports for period ending December 31st, 2022. UMR obesity care management, UNMR diabetes care management, share healthcare options utilization and large case management, United Healthcare basic life insurance, Willis Towers Watson individual market enrollment and performance report, Share Healthcare Options United Healthcare Plus Network, Health Plan of Nevada Inc., Southern Nevada HMO, and Doctor On Demand Engagement Report through March 2023. Do we have any items that a board member would like to pull off the consent agenda for further discussion?
Yes, Tom Verducci for the record. I would
Okay.
like to pull, and thank you, Chair Rob. I'd like to pull 4.2.1, the budget report.
Okay, 4.2.1. Do we have any other reports that we need to get pulled or any other items on the consent agenda to be pulled? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion for all outstanding items other than 4.2.1. We will hold for further discussion, but can I get a motion for approval of all the other items?
Yeah, April Karn for the record. I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second? I'm sorry if we have a second. I can't see because I'm using my phone.
Michelle Kelly,
this is
I'll
Beck.
second.
Okay, thank you very much. We have a motion second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. Now can we go to item 4.2.1? And Mr. Verducci, if you could give us what your question is on that, we can get somebody to answer your questions.
Thank you, Chair Rob. My question would be in terms of the differential cash available, the excess reserves. I'm wondering if someone from PEB could address the 29% increase in the differential cash, the excess reserves, and I'm just trying to get a picture if it's still growing or if we're spending down on the excess reserves. And I see a difference here of $9,680,000. And I just wanted to see if I'm reading this correctly and just trying to gauge if the excess cash is still growing. It seems like a pretty big number there.
Okay, can somebody from staff help answer that question?
Chair Rob, Michelle Whalen for the record. Mr. Verducci, I would like to consult with the executive staff and get back to you with an answer on that.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
All right. I don't think we need any action on this. It's just a report, so I don't think we need any action, but we will make sure that at the next board meeting, we do have those answers. So appreciate the question. And with that, we will close agenda item number 4. Move on to agenda item number 5. Discussion for possible action regarding the appointment of Ms. Glover as interim executive officer of PEB using statewide manpower contract effective May 26 of 2023, subject to the governor's approval per NRS 287.0424 for possible action. Does anybody have any comments about the possible appointment of Ms. Glover to the interim executive officer position? Is it Mr. Verducci? Are you the one that has your hand up? Like I said, I'm going on my phone, so I'm having trouble here.
Yes, thank you, Chair. I just wanted to point out that, I think it was about 6-7 years ago, I initially started as a PEB board member, and I have nothing, I have praises to make to Tina Glover with her expertise. Her reports were excellent, and I think that she is the individual that can really help at this point. I have nothing but praise to pass along to Tina with her professionalism and detail. And I'm so happy to see her back here again to save the day in a really rough time that we might be having ahead of us.
Okay, thank you very much. And I'm going to also chime in on that. I met with Ms. Glover and Ms. Rich and Jim Wells, and the confidence that Jim Wells and Ms. Rich have in Ms. Glover is comforting. You have much more experience with her than I do, but I trust those two's judgment wholeheartedly and believe this is the right place to go. So is there any further comments from any other board members? I'm sorry, if somebody's got their hand up, please start speaking.
Chair Rob, how about in the future, or next time a board member wants to raise their hand, I'll announce them in order
Okay,
to make it easier
Thank
for you.
thank you very much.
No one has their hand raised right now.
Okay, with no further discussion, this is an action item. I would entertain a motion at this point.
April Karn, for the record, motion to approve.
Okay, we have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
This is Jim Barnes. I'll second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. We'll move on to agenda item number 6, discussion for possible action regarding the permanent appointment or recruitment of a PEB executive officer for possible action. I did meet with Ms. Rich, and we do need to open up that recruitment, and we will work with state HR to ensure that that recruitment is opened far and wide, to make sure we have all possible and qualified candidates come forward so we can review them in a future meeting. Is there any other discussion? I'm new at this, and most of you on the board have been through this once, twice, maybe 3 times. So is there any further discussion for board members on this action item? Ms.
Board Member Kelly.
Thank you, Chair Rob. Michelle Kelly for the record. I'm fully supportive of that. I'm just not familiar with the state's recruitment policy. So I'm wondering, do we have money for advertising, nationwide advertising for this position? Is it a possibility, given it's such a senior role, to use a search consultant to kind of headhunt for the position? Because I know in the past, I think it has been hard to get good applicants. So I'm just wondering, how can we network and get that job out there and make sure the right people are seeing it with the right expertise?
Thank you very much for the question, Jack Rob, for the record. I will work with Ms. Bowsmith, head of human resources in the Department of Administration, and make sure there's associations of like individuals. We will make sure we advertise those associations and other ways that we can determine are possible to get the broadest reach we can to make sure we have a good pool of applicants going forward. So we will do a broad reach.
Thank you.
Any other board comments or questions?
Mike Demmer for the record. Chair, just as a follow-up on this, was it the intent of the board to have all applicants come before the board for the interview process? I ask in case there is numerous applicants that apply for the position, or is it intended to have HR vet minimum qualifications and have that forwarded to the board for review?
Jack Rob, for the record, we would work with Ms. Bowsmith and her staff to make sure that the individuals meet minimum qualifications. And if it was 5 that met the minimum qualifications, we would interview all 5. If it was 7, we would do that. If it was 3, we would do that. So if they meet the minimum qualifications, we would like to know how they could help us move forward with the PEB board.
Understood. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Ms. Bowsmith, I see that you're on. Do you have anything else to add at this point?
Good morning. Thank you, Chair Rob. For the record, Mandy Bowsmith. I serve the state as the administrator for the Division of Human Resource Management in the Department of Administration. I just want to take the opportunity to assure the board and the employees of the PEB program that we will do our utmost to put forward a wide recruitment search. We will make sure that we're networking and contacting our partners in other states and other agencies within Nevada to find the best possible candidate to lead the program going forward.
Okay. Thank you very much, Ms. Bowsmith. Any further discussion from board members? Seeing none, this is an action item. And if we do have an action item on this, I would like to have an action to instruct Ms. Bowsmith to open that recruitment and get it going forward so we can get the most qualified applicants. So do we have a motion along those lines?
This is Betsy Aiello. I'll move that we ask Ms. Bowsmith to move forward with the recruitment for the PEB executive officer, bringing the candidates that meet minimum qualifications to the board for interview.
Thank you very much.
Michelle Kelly, I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. We will close agenda item number 6, move on to agenda item number 7, discussion and possible action on pharmacy benefit manager market check. Richard Ward Siegel for possible action.
Hi, good morning. Hi, quick sound check. Everything all right?
Yes, you're good.
Okay,
Thank
you. We want to introduce my colleague. I think he's joined. Scott McEachern is a pharmacy consultant and another actuary on the Siegel team, and led our analysis on this market check. And just as a little bit of background, a pharmacy market check or PBM market check is a contract provision that has become much more prevalent over the last several years in the industry, and the PEB contract with Express Scripts includes this provision that provides PEB the option to compare pricing guarantees in the current contract or for the upcoming year with other terms in the market for comparable entities. So essentially what we did was compare the guaranteed discount levels, dispensing fees, and rebate guarantees that are promised to PEB in the Express Scripts contract, and compared those against terms that other similar entities have in place with other PBMs or with PBMs. Some are contracts with Express Scripts, some are with CVS, some are with Optum and other PBMs. So it's really just an assessment of how competitive are the current pricing guarantees in the PEB contract. And it's a data-driven analysis where we get a claims file and reprice it essentially using the guarantees in the other contracts to see if PEB's claims costs, net costs would be lower with these other contract terms. And we compared PEB's pricing with primarily other state contracts.
Okay.
I'm
sorry. Go ahead.
I had a little technical glitch there, and I paused. I'm sorry. So we had claims data from calendar year 2022, and our analysis indicated that there was about an 8% opportunity. So market pricing was about 8% more competitive, more advantageous than the pricing in aggregate in the PEB contract for this upcoming plan year, the plan year beginning July 1st. And I mean, identified that differential using PEB data with other contracts in place. Then Express Scripts was compelled by the terms of the contract to provide a proposal with improved terms. And the proposal that Express Scripts provided generates about 6.7% in savings. And so our recommendation for analyzing that was for PEB to accept the updated pricing terms from Express Scripts for the upcoming plan year. So the bottom line is the improvement in aggregate for dispensing fee guarantees, discount guarantees, and rebate guarantees is about 6.7% more advantageous for PEB than the terms in aggregate that would have gone in, would have become effective this coming July 1st.
Okay, thank you for that. Any board members have any questions on that? Seeing none, this is.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
I'm
Go ahead.
sorry. I'm
Michelle
sorry.
Kelly
I'm
and
slow.
Betsy.
I'm driving my mouse. I'm slow. Mr. Ward, I'm just curious, this dollar amount, how much that looks to be, that it's more, because I think it's giving us a little more room in our budget than maybe if the contract changes.
We estimate that represents approximately a little less than $3 million annually.
Thank you.
Okay, any further questions?
Yeah, Michelle Kelly for the record.
Go ahead.
I'm just, thank you, Chair Rob. I'm curious about exactly what you are bumping up when you're looking at the analysis. So are you kind of bumping up specific drug categories? Is it just those three, kind of the dispensing fee, the rebate, the guarantees? Or can you just share a little more about exactly kind of how detailed you go into, I guess? And when you say like the analysis showed 8%, Express Scripts came in with 6.7%. What are they seeing when you approach them about the 8%? And why didn't they match, I guess? Thank you.
Richard, I can take that. Hi, everyone. Scott McCackern from Siegel. Couple things. So when we compare the data, we compare to other state contracts, public government contracts that we have seen or negotiated on behalf of other clients. There's no two exact clients that are going to have the exact same utilization. So we're never going to be, a perfect mirror image in terms of our comparison. But in the industry, the PBMs have come to agree that if you have a plan that's on the similar size, similar formulary, similar geographic region, the pricing should be fairly competitive with the exception of the drug mix. So the drug mix could be how many specialty claims your plan is utilizing versus another, how many diabetes patients they have versus another, and that'll impact the total rebates. So when we aligned with 4 or 5 different state plans that we felt were valid competitors, we compared those complete contracts, so not just picking one individual point, but if you were to take this contract from another state, you could have seen on average an 8% savings. One of the primary reasons why Express Scripts claimed that they couldn't go to the 8% savings is that they bid that last year, and the contracts that we were using were for very recent bids. And in a PBM RFP scenario, you do tend to get a little bit more aggressive pricing than you would in a renewal. And the reason is because the PBM is going to take a loss in the first couple of years and then make it up on the back end. So we feel that that's within a degree of acceptability. Most contracts believe that if your pricing comes within 2% of a market competitive benchmark, that's considered competitive. So this being only about a 1.5% delta, we felt was within that competitive range.
Okay, thank you for the explanation.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, this is an action item. I would entertain a motion to accept what has been presented to move forward for the following year, starting July 1.
Michelle Kelly for the record. I'll make that motion that we move forward with the repricing.
Okay. We have a motion. Do we have a
Aiello,
second?
I second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. We will move on to agenda item number 8, open enrollment update. Nick Proper, Operations Manager, information on discussion.
Nick Proper for the record. Open enrollment began on May 1st and will continue through May 31st. And on May 1st, all OE events were queued successfully with no major issues being reported as of the date this was written. PEB's OE meetings were performed virtually again this year, and we're pleased to announce that the accessibility of these virtual webinars resulted in a high participation of 1,603 attendees, which is actually 345 more than last year. So word has gotten out, people are attending. This is a good thing. As of today, 4,000 open enrollment events have been completed with 1,700 events in progress. Because we have 6 days left of open enrollment, we are coordinating an email outreach tomorrow to those members with their unfinalized events, communicating that if they do not finalize their events by next Wednesday, that their elections will not take effect on 7/1. Each year, we actually receive a migration report from our vendor highlighting member movement and activity between plans. And the chart below illustrates the member enrollment changes that have taken place through May 18th. And I have updated figures for today, and they're very similar. A slight increase on the LD PPO. Currently, it's about 17,000 people on the LD PPO and 26,000 on the CDHP, which reflects people are leaving the CDHP to join the LD PPO plan. But all the other plans seem to be relatively similar enrollment between the years. Something new for plan year 24 is all plans will be receiving HSA or HRA funding in a combination from the base employer contribution for the CDHP only, an additional one-time PEB board approved contribution for all plans, and a one-time legislature appropriated contribution for all plans. Due to the timeliness of vendor files, so members have coverage effective July 1st, we have taken internal precautions and operationally made it where come the first week of July, that the base employer contribution for the CDHP and the one-time PEB board approved contribution will be funded into members' accounts. But due to the state budget bill not being officially signed, the legislature appropriated contributions will be funded separately sometime later in July or early August, depending on the status of the state budget bill, because there is possibility it could change or remain the same. And we didn't want any changes to affect members' coverages on July 1st. So with that, I'm available for any questions about open enrollment.
Any questions from board members at this time?
Michelle
Ms.
Kelly.
Kelly. Yes.
Firstly, I'm sometimes the harshest critic, and I just want to really commend Mr. Proper. I've had a couple of people tell me that their experience calling customer service this open enrollment has really been positive. And additionally, even more heartening was that one of our future retirees reached out to PEBP to get guidance on all things retiree health insurance. And she really sung high praises about the attitude and the helpfulness and all of the things that you hope to hear about your customer service representative. So I really want to firstly just say thank you. I know that obviously it's incredibly difficult in the PEB office at the moment or wherever people are actually working from, but it sounds like, that you've really got a handle on things. So thank you to you and thank you to all of your staff as well. I guess my one question about open enrollment and funding the legislative portion a bit later is how will people who terminate employment prior to the payment of that be treated? So that one-off contribution.
So sorry, Nick Proper for the record, if a member had coverage during July 1st, they will receive that. It will just be backdated and effective only for the month of July. So if they had coverage in July, they will receive it. If they don't have coverage in August, it will be prorated and they, won't get anything more. And if it's HRA, it could be clawed back if they attempted to use it in August, depending on the file transfers. But say it is contributed to everybody's accounts in August, it will be backdated effective July 1st.
Okay, thank you. And so just a follow up. So you said that for people who may be terminated, it might be prorated, but for everyone else, if they're on employment, but they terminate, say in October, how will that proration happen so that everyone's treated equally? And then I guess that you bring up a really good question. I'm not really familiar with how the HRA works when people terminate. So can you talk a little about, given that we're issuing all of these credit cards to people, can you maybe talk a little bit about that process? Thank you.
Nick Proper for the record. So typically proration goes in effect if somebody's hired middle of the year. So they don't, say somebody's hired in January, they don't get funding from July to December since they weren't on the plan. And HSA, that's member owned. So if an employee terminates at any time, they keep that full amount. HRA is not member owned. So PEB has the rights to claw back any HRA funding, if it was not used. And even if, say, it was used inappropriately, they got the full lump sum and maybe they weren't eligible, something happened that they shouldn't have received it, we will try to claw back the entire amount. That's few and far between, but since that is PEB owned HRA funds, we do have that right.
Just to follow up, so you have the right, but do we have a policy on it? I just want to make sure that, the agencies out there can give good information about those HRA monies. So for someone who gets the full HRA, whenever it's funded, and then say, let's just say they terminate in September, is there a policy where you will claw it back, or do they have X number of days to use that money? Like, how exactly does that work? And you can follow up if you need to do some research or whatever.
Nick Proper for the record. So if they use the full amount, it's theirs. They've used it, it's gone. If there's anything remaining that have not been used by their termination date, it will automatically be reverted back to PEB. So we have policies in place, we have processes in place with our vendors and PEB staff.
Okay, thank you. That just helps with the advice we give employees. So thanks, I appreciate that.
Okay, thank you. Board Member Aiello, you have a question?
Yes, and I'm working a little bit here from my memory, and I believe, Mr. Proper, it'll be you who will be answering this question. But as my understanding, as people shift from the CDHP to the LD plan, at the upfront, we've made the decision that we supplement each plan at the same level, so it doesn't affect our budget that way. But it's my understanding, I remember from past board meetings, hearing that the CDHP plan, and I'm thinking the EPO, but I may be wrong, help cover some of the high costs of the LD plan, if I'm remembering correctly, and the HMO. And if that's correct, the shifting of people, is that going to affect the budget negatively or in the long term?
Nick Proper for the record. So that's a loaded question.
Okay, maybe it's.
So a high level, yes, people on the CDHP plan typically subsidize the other plans. For example, the CDHP plan typically has more primary members as opposed to spouse and family plans. And typically primary members that are healthy choose the CDHP and do not use their insurance. as much as people on the LD, PPO, and the EPO. So in that sense, it does, in an indirect way, subsidize the other plans. And this is something that we are paying attention to of plan enrollment, because we have to analyze, do we want to keep certain plans, change certain plans, rate the plans separately, because currently they're all rated together. So this is something on our radar for the future.
Oh, okay, yeah, because that was just my concern. Because, and this is just surmising, it might be something at some time that the staff of PEB also is planning to look into, is that by offering HRA fundings across all plans, which we did do to help cover some of the raising costs, may be part of the reason why people are shifting out of the high deductible, because that was one of the benefits of choosing the high deductible possibly, and we may be driving people the other way. And in effect, and if we are, we might need to look longer term again, how it's going to affect the program every time we make changes like that. And so this is just some long-term thinking and questions that I'm hoping the staff will look into, and possibly, because as you said, the other plans pretty much stayed the same, but we did definitely see a shift from the high deductible to the low deductible. Thank you.
Yeah, Nick Proper for the record. You're absolutely right, Betsy. This is something that we're paying attention to.
Okay, thank you very much. Any further questions on agenda item number 8? Being none, I'll move on to agenda item number 9, discussions and acceptance of Claim Technologies Incorporated audit findings for State of Nevada Public Employee Benefit Program plans for Express Scripts plan years 2020 through and 2022 for periods July 1st of 2019 through June 30th of 2020 and July 1st, 2021 through June 20th, 2022 respectively. Nick Proper, Operations Officer for possible action.
Nick Proper for the record. This report provides high-level supplemental information regarding CTI's audit of Express Scripts and the performance guarantees that were not part of the audit results. This information illustrates the additional penalties for self-reported unmet performance guarantees not specifically audited for plan years 2020 and 2022. When implementing the new auditor contract with CTI, the audit for plan year 2020 was omitted, so this is catch up of that plan year's audit. Of the performance guarantees, the member satisfaction survey was reported to be not met for 2020 and incurred a penalty in the amount of $17,556. The same performance guarantee for member satisfaction survey for 2022 was also not met, with another penalty of $78,000, totaling $96,115.54. These penalties are automatically assessed by PEB independently of the audit determinations. And with that, we have CTI on hand to go over their full audit results with any questions, and we have ESI for any additional questions.
Okay. Board Member Verducci, do you have a question?
Yes, thank you, Chair Rob. I wanted to ask on the first section, the retail claim financial accuracy. Nick, how much is the penalty in that category? You know that?
Nick Proper for the record. Do we have somebody from CTI on hand to go over the audit results?
Hi, Julie Weissman for the record. I'm from Pillar RX. We are actually the auditing firm that actually worked with CTI on the results. Can you repeat the question, Tom?
Oh, yes, thank you. The question is the first category, the retail claim financial accuracy, and it comes under not met in that category. And I had a couple questions here. My first one is, how much is that penalty in that category?
I believe, I'm not quite sure which, because the reports I'm looking at are showing as met. The only categories that are actually showing as not met were that member satisfaction survey, I believe, on both years.
Tom Verducci for the record. So what I'm reading here is the very first category. It does read retail claim financial accuracy. Clear to the right, it says not met. And specifically where I'm going with this is the description is that the goal was 99% of all claims paid. And I'm reading that the result was 98.92%. And my point here is that that is so close, it almost seems like it should be rounded up to 99%. It's off 8/100ths of 1%.
I don't want to be the bearer of bad news or question what you're looking at, but I think we might be looking at slightly different reports, because for the 2020 audit, I'm showing both of those met as 100%. And for the 2022 audit, I'm showing that under the retail, the claim financial accuracy was 100% met, and the processing accuracy was 99.82%. And it was a met, and under the mail order, those were both met at 100%.
So, okay, so I'm reading in the board packet here. This is going to be page 4 of the performance guarantee review. And there's 3 boxes: retail claim, mail order, member satisfaction. Retail claim is listed as not met. It is given as 98.92%. So this page, if you can read it.
Michelle Kelly for the record. It looks like that's an appendix. It's on Express Scripts letterhead, the document that Tom's looking at.
That is not something that I'm seeing in my report. So I don't have anything with ESI's letterhead on it. That's actually probably, again, like what you stated, an appendix or something specifically provided by ESI that I do not have in our reports.
Okay, Tom Verducci for the record. So if this isn't really being identified as an amount that's going to have a financial penalty, this might not really be an important thing to bring up. But if they were off 8/100ths of 1%, I was going to suggest that they be forgiven in that category. But since it's not being tied to any identifiable penalty, then I guess we can cease the discussion here.
Okay. Thank you very much. Any other board members have questions? Seeing none, this is an action item.
Michelle Kelly for the record. I make a motion that we accept the report from CTI and collect the associate penalties as outlined in the agenda item.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
April Karn, I'll second.
Thank you very much. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion passes. We will move on to agenda item number 10, discussion and acceptance of Claim Technologies Incorporated audit findings for State of Nevada Public Employee Benefit Program administered by UMR Benefits for period October 1, 2022 through December 31, 2022. Nick Proper for this item. Thank you.
Nick Proper for the record. This report provides high-level supplemental information regarding CTI's audit of UMR and the performance guarantees not part of the random sample audit results. The tables below illustrate additional penalties being assessed by PEB for self-reported, unmet performance guarantees not captured in the second quarter audit for fiscal year 2023. There are 3 sections with categories that were found to be not met. These sections are claims administration, network administration, and utilization management and case management in one section, all totaling $111,773.85 in penalties, in conjunction with the audited penalties of $45,238.37. The total calculated penalties for the second quarter audit was $157,000, $12.22. And we have CTI in hand to go over the high-level executive summary with UMR on hand for additional questions if needed.
Michelle Kelly for the record. If I recall correctly, at the last meeting, we reviewed the previous quarter, which was equally bad. And I think we were kind of given warning then that Q2 wasn't looking particularly good. I wonder if UMR is here and can talk about progress in improving these metrics and how they're going through to in this quarter, or how are we going to look in the next quarter that we review, I guess is a better way of phrasing it.
So this is Helmut Braun with UMR. I was there last meeting to talk to all of you. I think we are making progress. Okay. We did have a good discussion with folks from CTI, talk a little bit about our duplicate processing logic, et cetera. They gave us one suggestion for improvement, which we are putting into play. We put some additional checks in play to help improve our processing as well. Obviously, we're already well into the third quarter when that happened. So those things have gotten into effect now. I'm not sure how much impact they'll have on the third quarter. We're hoping we have some improvement in the third quarter, but certainly expecting more improvement again in the fourth quarter.
Okay, thank you very much. Any further questions from board members? Okay, seeing none, this is an action item. Anybody have a motion on this action?
Michelle Kelly for the record. I make the motion that we accept the report from CTI on UMR's performance and assess the penalties as indicated.
Okay, we have a motion.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. We'll close agenda item number 10, move on to agenda item number 11. Presentation and possible action on status and approval of new PEB contracts, contract amendments and solicitations. Michelle Wayland, Administrative Services Officer, for possible action.
Good morning. My name is Michelle Wayland for the record. I am the Administrative Services Officer here at Public Employees Benefits Program. I am here to present the contract status report to the board. This report addresses the status of contracts to include contract overview, new contracts for approval, contract amendments for approval, contract solicitations for approval, and the status of current solicitations. Below is a chart that lists the current active contracts with PEB as of April 30, 2023. No recommendation as there's no action necessary. New contracts. The first new contract is with Vivo Technologies. As you know, the Public Employees Benefits Program relocated from 901 Stewart Street to 3427 Go Nice Street on April 3rd. As part of the move, PEB needed to either purchase new video conferencing equipment or move existing equipment. It was determined that it was more cost-effective to move the existing equipment. The Public Employees Benefits Program requested and was granted a solicitation waiver to contract with Vivo Technologies, as they were the vendor that originally installed the video conferencing equipment in the PEB board meeting room. The contract is effective from March 24, 2023 through June 30, 2023, with a total maximum contract amount of $13,800. PEB recommends the board authorize staff to contract with Vivo to complete the equipment installation.
Okay, thank you for the presentation. Do we have a motion to select Vivo Technology for our video conferencing?
This is Betsy. I'll move we select Vivo Technology for the equipment installation.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
April Karn, I'll second.
Thank you very much. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. Please proceed.
Thank you, Michelle Whalen for the record. The next new contract is for the National Diabetes Prevention Pilot Program. The Public Employees Benefits Program, pursuant to the board approval of the National Diabetes Prevention Pilot Program at the March 23rd, 2023 meeting, requests to contract with Nevada Business Group on Health. This would be a $0 contract with a public-private partnership of community organizations, private insurers, healthcare organizations, employers, and government agencies. Partners will work to establish local evidence-based lifestyle change programs for people at high risk for type 2 diabetes. And there is a link for the PowerPoint presentation that I believe was gone through at the March 23rd meeting. PEB recommends the board authorize staff to contract with Nevada Business Group on Health.
Thank you very much. Do we have any further discussion on this or questions? Seeing none, I will entertain a motion.
April Karn for the record. I'll make a motion for staff to contract with Nevada Business Group on Health.
Thank you very much. Do we have a second?
Michelle Kelly for the record, I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Please proceed.
Michelle Whalen for the record. The next new contract is with a former state employee. The Public Employees Benefit Program is requesting to contract with a former employee, Celestina Glover, through the use of Manpower Temporary Services. The request is made in accordance with the State Administrative Manual, Chapter 0323. In her previous position, Ms. Glover was the Chief Financial Officer with responsibility for managing the accounting department. Ms. Glover will actually be acting as the interim executive officer until a permanent executive officer is appointed. PEB recommends the board authorize staff to contract with former state employee Celestina Glover, Tina, until such time as an executive officer is appointed.
Thank you very much. Any further discussion?
Michelle Kelly for the
Yes.
record. I just have a
Yes.
question.
Sure.
Chair Rob, I'm just wondering, with Ms. Glover stepping into the interim CEO, what is the plan for the CFO? I mean, the budget is such a big issue, so I'm just wondering if is there an interim plan for filling the financial officer position so that the board can get accurate reporting, or what's happening there?
Ms. Glover, do you want to address that one? You're probably in the best position, or Mr. Proper? Nick?
I'll address it. This is Celestina Glover for the record. I did come on to help with the vacant CFO position. We did start a recruitment for that. We've received a couple of resumes. I think we've gotten 3 at this point. The intention is to fill that position as soon as possible. I will work with the new appointee to assist in getting them trained, as well as continuing to assist as the interim executive officer based on the recent vote. So yes, we're moving toward that.
Okay, thank you very much. Do we have any further questions? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion to contract with Manpower.
Michelle Kelly for the record. So moved. I'll make that motion that PEBP contract with Manpower to employ Ms. Glover as the interim CEO.
Okay, thank you very much. Do we have a second?
This is Betsy, I'll second.
Thank you very much. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Please proceed.
Michelle Whalen for the record. The next new contract is with our financial auditor. The Public Employees Benefits Program is requesting to contract with Eide Bailey LLP for PEB's outside financial audit needs. Our previous contractor, Clifton Larson Allen LLP, terminated their contract with PEB March 27, 2023, citing that our audits took much longer and required greater resources than expected. Eide Bailey LLP is used by multiple state agencies and has the benefit of understanding state of Nevada processes. State purchasing granted approval for PEB to use the Legislative Council Bureau Financial Auditor RFP for contracting purposes. Additionally, Eide Bailey has the staffing resources necessary to complete PEB audits in a timely manner. The effective date of the contract is anticipated to be July 13, 2023, upon BOE approval through June 30, 2025. Services and fees are expected to begin on or before August 1st, 2023. The cost for this contract is not to exceed $386,500. PEB recommends the board authorize staff to contract with Eide Bailey LLP for outside financial audits.
Okay, any questions from board members on this agenda item? I don't see any. I have full confidence. I've worked with Eide Bailey on multiple audits in the past, and they are a great firm to work with, so I have full confidence. I will entertain a motion.
April Karn, I'll make a motion for board to authorize staff to contract with Eide Bailey LLP for outside financial audits.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
This is Betsy, I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed? Motion passes. Please proceed.
Michelle Whalen for the record. Contract amendment ratifications. Our first one is Express Scripts. The Public Employees Benefits Program contracted with Express Scripts for pharmacy benefits management services, which became effective July 1st, 2022, with a termination date of June 30, 2026. This amendment makes changes to the fee schedule based on the market check completed by Siegel. In addition, this amendment updates the fee schedule from per member per month, PMPM, to per employee per month, PEPM. This amendment makes no change in contract authority. PEB recommends the board authorize staff to amend contract between PEB and Express Scripts for pharmacy benefits management in contract number 25582 to update the fee schedule based on the market check performed by Siegel and revise the payment method from PMPM to PEPM.
Okay, board member Aiello, you have a question?
Yes, so based on our earlier presentation, I definitely understand the contract update fee schedule. I'm just curious, it seems to me that PMPM is a more accurate method based on there can be different amounts of folks based on the employees versus per employee per month. So I'm just curious, and in the PEPM, does that include the retirees that are on the plan as the primary? So I'm just curious why that's recommended being changed.
Most of our other contracts are actually PEPM, so it was a consistency was one of the reasons, and it was also to try to clarify the fee schedule with Express Scripts in comparison. And then I'm going to actually reach out to my new interim director for some assistance here.
This is Celestina Glover for the record. Michelle is exactly correct. We typically pay on a PEPM basis. We tend to use the two terms interchangeably, which can become confusing. The PEPM really should be probably PPPM. It's per primary, so the retirees are included in that count. It makes it easier for us to get an accurate count of our primary members to calculate whatever fees are associated with the various contracts. So this brings Express Scripts in line with the rest of our contracts.
Okay. And then just a follow-up question. So then actually the cost is a little bit higher because Express Scripts is still having to manage the other members that aren't a primary member at the same time.
This is Celestina Glover for the record. Correct. What they did is they adjusted. So I used an example. So instead of charging $1 for 40,000, they might charge $1.50 for 27,000 to make up. So they are getting the fee for all our members.
Okay, it just was kind of a surprising thing to me, but if it works better for you guys, I'm not objecting at all.
Okay, any further discussions? Seeing none, I'll call for a motion.
This is Betsy. I move to approve or accept the recommendation for Express Scripts contact as written.
Michelle Kelly for the record, I'll second.
Thank you very much. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Please proceed.
Michelle Whalen for the record. The second amendment is with UHC Incorporated. The Public Employees Benefits Program contracted with UHC Inc. to provide life insurance coverage for PEB members effective 4/12/2022 with a termination date of June 30, 2026. This amendment increases the contract maximum from $12,824,248 to $21,771,427. This amendment increases contract authority to pay for the legislatively approved increases to the life insurance benefits that are a part of the core benefits package for employees and retirees. PEB recommends the board approve an amendment with UHC for that increased life insurance benefit.
Any discussion or questions? Seeing none, I'll call for a motion.
Michelle Kelly for the record, I'll make the motion as indicated in the packet that we approve an amendment with UHC to increase the life insurance.
Okay, do we have a second?
This is Betsy, I'll second.
Thank you very much. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Please proceed.
Michelle Whalen for the record. We have no contract solicitation ratifications currently, so there's no action required there. And the status of the current solicitations, there's a chart showing the centers of excellence for the travel concierge. We have released the RFP, and the mid-June, it's planned for the review of those proposals, and hopefully we can have something to the board by the September 2023 meeting. The oncology management program, we are expecting a draft in mid-June. And we also hope to have something to present to the board at the September 2023 meeting.
Okay, thank you very much. Do we have any questions? Seeing none, I do not believe this requires any action unless staff says we need some action, but I think we can proceed. We will close agenda item number 11 and move on to agenda item number 12, public comment. Public comment will be taken during this agenda item. Comments may be limited to 3 minutes per person at the discretion of the chair. Do we have anybody for public comment?
Yes, we do, Chair Rob. 1 moment, please.
Okay, thank you.
For those who have joined for public comment, your name or last 4 digits of your phone number will be announced and you will be advised you have been unmuted. As a reminder for those on the phone, please press *6 to unmute. Please slowly state and spell your name for the record and proceed with your comments. Caller with the last 4 digits, 3246. Please press *6 to unmute and slowly spell and state your name for the record if you wish to make public comment. Okay, Chris Silverson, you have permission to speak. Please slowly spell and state your name if you wish to make public comment.
Thank you. This is Chris Severson. Last name is Syverson. I'm with the Nevada Business Group on Health and wanted to just thank you for the approval of the contract with Nevada Business Group on Health and look forward to working with you all.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chris, and apologies for misspelling your last name, or missing it. Chair Bob, that's all we have for public comment. Do you want me to wait another minute or so?
I believe we're good. With that, I do appreciate this very quick meeting. We do have some long meetings coming up with some hiring to be accomplished. So do appreciate everybody's time this morning. And with that, we'll move on to agenda item number 13 and we'll adjourn. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.